Good evening. Welcome to Justice for All. My name is Howard Dotson. This is our segment to focus on the life and legacy of Barway Collins. On the line is Barway's mama, Louise, and Shiela Bradley. She was instrumental in finding Barway on the Mississippi River. And we're going to talk about the Barway Collins Foundation and upcoming events to lift up Barway's life and legacy. So, Louise, would you like to give an introduction, and then Shiela? Shiela,
Yes,
go
my
ahead.
name is Louise Karluah. Barway College mom. That's it.
That's it. Okay.
Well, I'm Shiela Bradley Smith. A lot of people know me as Shiela Bradley because of my nieces who are missing, Cleonda and Diamond Bradley out of Chicago. But my married name is Smith. So my name is Shiela Bradley Smith, and it's a pleasure for me to be here to continue with the legacy of Barway Collins.
Thank you. Just some background. It was in 2015 in March when Barway Collins went missing, and there was a lot of drama. And at first, people thought Pierre Collins, his father, was innocent, and he went on Nancy Grape. And in time, the investigation showed that Pierre Collins was charged and convicted with murder for killing his son for insurance money. 1 Timothy 8 is my favorite verse in the Bible. The love of money is the root of all evil. To kill your child for money is messed up on so many levels. So my role began when I learned that there's investigative reporters looking into money going to Pierre's defense fund from the money that was raised for Barway. Once I heard that, I knew we had to set up a separate fund just for Louise to get her to bury her child. So thank you to River of Life Lutheran Church and Samuel Ajua for enabling us to raise money and to lift up an alternative channel to support Louise. Because if that story broke about the money going to Pierre's defense fund, people would stop giving, and it would impact Louise's ability to get here. So that's one chapter. Shiela, you want to share about the Mississippi River and the search effort?
Yeah, well, actually, yeah, we do have to go back to the beginning. And I know that is very hurtful, Louise, but I want you to know everything that was humanly possibly done by myself and my crew. Actually, I was on my way from North Carolina by the time I hit the Minnesota state line. There was an Amber Alert, and it said Crystal, Minnesota. And I didn't catch the name at first, but when it said Crystal, Minnesota, I pretty much broke the speed limit a little bit trying to get home because I was already determined that there is no way it's going to be a missing child where I live, because I live in Crystal, still do. So I had been driving for about 12 hours, and it was a Saturday morning when I got here. And I'll never forget, I couldn't go to sleep because I started to go to sleep and, pick up on the news and everything later, but I couldn't. So I stayed up, got a bunch of crafting paper, made signs, got my bullhorn that I've usually keep around, because of my nieces and when I'm doing vigils there. And I needed some flyers out. So I went to a printing company here in New Hope. The gentleman printed off flyers, and I went outside of that development and just started screaming, "Where is Barway Collins?" And it was early morning, at least about 7:30 or 8. Nobody was out there, but all of a sudden people started coming out of that building and just standing there with me. Even the male man, he said, I'm going to knock on Pierre's and his wife then door. So at about 10, I decided we need to canvass the neighborhood. That's the first thing that any search party should do, was canvass the neighborhood. So we walked through the Crystal shopping mall. We walked over to um, almost to Winnetka. We was hitting every block, passing out flyers. Then, excuse me, then I look up, there's the news media, and I'm like, great. It's getting more attention. And we did that for the rest of the day. And the second Saturday was when I met most people from the Liberian community. Um, I wasn't accustomed to working with anybody except Janelle, which was like a colleague helping me with my missing person advocacy, details. But it was just hundreds of people that was there, hundreds of people. So what I did was I had them to take my phone number, sign in, and if anybody see anything, to give my phone number a call. That second Saturday, we went over to the north end of 694 looking in the water because we had been hearing that Pierre's phone had pinged over in the area. And by that time, another uh, organization, I guess, aided me and the others with, doing that search. We didn't find anything. But that third Saturday, Louise, I leaned out my window. I'll never forget. And I said, okay, what color balloons am I going to take out there today? Because I only held the searches on a Saturday, which should have been my Sabbath. But I figured that the Lord said, if one fall in the well, are you going to leave him there because it's the Sabbath? That's the way I felt. So I had to get out there and do something. So I requested white balloons and blue balloons. The blue balloons was for Barway, and the white balloons was the prayers, symbolic of the prayers that we were sending up to find Barway today. That's exactly the way I quoted it. We're going to find Barway today. But before I left, I was looking out the window and I said, Barway, you got to help me. Tell God I need some help. Now, there were other larger organizations that formed. I don't know who they are. Well, should I say, I don't know who they were, but we didn't get a cohesiveness to work together because it was myself, my group, the other organization, and all of the Liberians. So, of course, I'm welcoming everybody, anybody that could look, let's do this. But on that Saturday, I walked up to Pierre and I shook his hand. And after shaking his hand, I walked over to the police chief and I leaned over. I said, he's guilty. And she says, well, we're doing our investigation. I said, I felt he's guilty. And I said, but we're going to find Barway today. And, I, I kind of felt kind of shunned a little bit because I wasn't a police officer. And, with law enforcement, they prefer you to be, quote unquote, the professional. But I'm the professional when it comes to missing people because I got missing people. Everybody that don't have missing people don't know what to look for, how it feel. You'll hear a lot of people say, um, I'm sorry for your pain. I know how you feel. If they don't have someone missing, they do not know how you feel. They do not. They can sympathize, they can empathize, and they could comfort you. But unless you have experienced that, you won't know. And I think that that's that spiritual attachment I had with looking for Barway. So I wanted to go past our flyers at a sex offender building just across 49th. It was a sex offender building. So I passed out a few flyers, kind of intimidated a few people. But I get a phone call and I said, hello. I hear the sweetest little voice, a little kid say, Miss Smith, I say, yes. Um, well, we're out on the Mississippi, me and the church, the troop guy leader, we're out here, and she was wondering where you on your way. I said, well, I'll be on my way. I'm just passing out flyers, and then I said, well, where is she? The little boy says, oh, she got to catch up. She's slow. So I said, okay, well, you wait right there with her. For her, because I didn't want the kids to go too far ahead. But when I hung up the phone, I said, now, why did lady take them kids? Oh my God. You know, because I'm thinking this is a search and it doesn't take children to be out there. Then the phone rang again, Louise. The same little boy. Miss Smith, I see candy papers, fishing nets. I say, okay, sweetheart. Just keep looking, but wait on your troop leader. And if you see something else, call me back. So I got off the phone with him and I told the driver, I say, this kid is going to call me about everything in the Mississippi, including the pollution. Then the phone rang again. I said, okay, I better take it because this little kid is not going to stop calling. So he said, Miss Smith, I see a really big piece of wood. I don't know what it is. I say, well, you know how to use your phone? He said, yeah. I say, well, can you zoom in? I say, take a picture of it, but slowly zoom in. And he zoomed in, and I said, okay, exactly where are you? I said, when I come in, exactly where to find you. And he gave me precise directions. He said, but we're going to come up and get you because we're down the bank instead of up the bank. So when when the little kids came up, it was about 6 or 7 of them. I found my way down the path with them, stumbled over a couple of rocks, and the troop leader had a stick, like a white stick, a pole type. And she says, what do you think that is? And I looked. And it would have made you think that it was a tree and the branches were up, just like a big tree log. But I stood there on that rock in the water and I looked even closer and I said, call it in, that's Barway.
Take your time.
So, of course, the sheriffs came, the media came. And one thing I could say is, at first I was kind of angry because little kids were there, but it took a child to find a child, so to speak. And from that day on, I've never forgotten him. I DoorDash and I got my first order yesterday. I think I told you, Howard, over in the apartments where Barway used to live. And when I drove in there, and the guy, he had sent me a nasty text about where's my food. But I finally found the building over to the left side. But to my right, driving out, all I could do was stop, look up at the building, drive a little closer to where the tree was, because it was a monument pretty much where the tree was with flowers and prayers and cards from children and teddy bears. And none of that was there, of course, but I was able to see that. I was able to see that. And I drove on off and I went past the cemetery where we've met up before. And I said, it's okay, Barway, you're an angel. It's okay. And that's how I was instrumental in helping to find him. And I'm glad that I was able to do that. I would just like everybody to support what we're doing to get this statue, to get this school, to get everything for Barway. because unfortunately, missing children and missing adults as well, and missing men, it's becoming like an epidemic, and everybody's losing focus. And a lot of people think, oh, they don't kidnap nobody in my area. That'll never happen to me. You're looking at somebody who used to read the little wording on the milk cartons with the Pratt's boy on it years and years ago. Now I'm talking over 60 years here, but don't tell nobody. And I remember reading this child was missing and eating my cereal. And I said, oh, God help them. But that was as far as it went. Never once did I ever phantom that I would be the family member of two missing children. So if there's a missing person and you're on social media, I know it can become a bit much, but sometimes share something about a missing person. Because if you don't, it's like the guy used to say at the movies, a kidnapper could be coming to a theater, in this case, a neighborhood near you soon. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you so much.
You're
Yes.
welcome.
Luis, do you have any response to what has been shared?
Hmm. I don't know what to say.
It's okay. Feel free as we go. The Spirit gives you words. I want you to have the floor. So Pierre Collins was charged and convicted, and he's serving his sentence. There's been some rumors that he was getting out sooner than he actually is. Chief Revering of Crystal PD was able to give us the exact information. And after Luis arrived and was able to bury her son, and thank you to the donor who donated the plot.
Yes, yes, he did.
I mean, Luis, Barway's death was a gut punch for the entire Twin Cities community. I've followed many homicides as a police chaplain. I've never seen a case impact the community as much as this case did. So when Luis got here, I brought her to River of Life Lutheran Church with Samuel. And after worship, I brought Luis to the Mississippi. And we prayed at the spot where Barway was found. So it's been 8 years. And it was a circus when Luis got here. There's a lot of people that were chasing the camera. But what I see is that when the camera goes, they go.
Exactly, exactly. And they're not there to support her after the
Yep.
fact, because just because there's been a funeral, nobody can put a timeline on grieving. And this was a very horrendous crime here. This was her baby. You know, I've met Louise. Of course, I met Louise. She's actually falling asleep on that sofa over there. That sofa. You know, she was a mother in another country. It's hard enough if you live in and live where it happened, but it took a lot of effort. And thank you, Howard, for being able to help her get here, because it was a circus. It was a media circus. Everybody, um, I don't want to name no names because of, I just don't name names, but it became a monetary gain for monies that wasn't even going to Barway's funeral. Um, People were stepping in, coming out the woodwork that I never heard of. Actually, only you, Louise, and a few of the Liberians and the African community have actually told me thank you.
Hmm.
But the people that wasn't there, who came at the tail end, who was not very instrumental, they tried to exploit the fact that Louise was here and I did this and I did that, and these people didn't do anything because I stepped back and watched.
Right. We're going to have to stop 1 second because time is. I want to make sure that our timer doesn't run out. So please continue.
But at that point, when dollars got to flying and accusations of theft and bank accounts, people were setting up GoFundMe accounts, and I knew to just step out of it, because I had did my work, and
Yeah.
I'm sure, and I'm sure the Lord was pleased. But I wasn't going to be around to address who's collecting money here. Grocery store owners saying that they're giving up thousands of dollars, but they're not getting it. This woman lost her child. Why are you scamming people? To me, it was scamming people. And I wasn't going to have anything to do with that.
Barway got lost in the chaos.
Right. It wasn't about Barway. It was about money.
Yeah.
It was about money. But, uh, aside from all of that, I just want Louise to know that there are those of us who diligently looked, searched, and found Barway. That is what was important to me. Finding Barway was my only hope, my only goal, and I've done that. Me and a few others, Crystal Police, yes, they had it taped off and said he couldn't be over there because a girl had jumped off a bridge. Remember that? The Hennepin Bridge, and they said they had underwater divers and there's no way Barway could be there. But I thank God that I was hard-headed and asked the troop leader, hey, I'm going back over there. Can you meet me over there? And she said yes. That's what I'm grateful about. I'm grateful for that. I didn't get to know Barway, but when I passed the cemetery, I just say, hey, baby. I do. And then I get a little soft inside. Then I say, okay, it's going to be all right. And I keep door dashing.
He's an angel now.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And I can't wait for the statue to be put up. They already made a new playground, and that statue should be not only a monument, well, not only a monument, but a reminder about children missing and domestic abuse and domestic violence. You know, I mean, sad to say, Pierre isn't the only one who has killed his own child,
Mm.
but it's not going to happen on our watch. That's our goal, not on our watch.
Takes a village.
Yes, it does.
Children. So, in the interest of time, I think tonight we're just going to focus on the statue. And in another segment, we're going to talk about the school. So, I've asked Sounds of Blackness to sing Eric Clapton's Tears in Heaven when the statue's unveiled.
Great.
They're still working on the construction. And as soon as they know it's complete, the city of Crystal is going to set the date sometime this summer. I've asked the ambassador of Liberia to come from DC. And we're forming the Barway Collins Foundation and hopefully have that set so that when the statue is unveiled and people ask, what's the next step? That'll be the school. Because I call Brooklyn Park Little Monrovia. We have the largest Liberian community in the country. And it's time for the Liberian community to support Barway's life and legacy in a legitimate way that is celebrating his legacy. It's about Barway. It's about his mama and that bereavement journey. Knowing there's tragedy, out of tragedy comes hope.
Yes, yes.
I told Louise when she was pregnant with Lucilia, who's going to be 9 months old soon, I told her, "You're my Easter story." We were at a buffet, Chinese buffet, getting close to Easter. I said, "Louise, you're my Easter story." Louise, you want to share a little bit about Lucilia and the time we have left? Give an update?
You see that what?
Tell us about Lucilia and the birthday celebration coming up.
Oh, okay. You see that she was born July 31st, 2022, and she's gonna be 1 year old this coming July 31st. But we're gonna celebrate her birthday on the 28th of July, which is Saturday, then the 29th, which is Sunday, and the 31st for birthday. But if anybody can come, if you wanna come, you come on Saturday for the birthday party. We're gonna have party, but you should have to come and have fun.
Yeah.
Hopefully I'll be here because my niece's vigil is July the 6th. So sometimes I don't come right back home. But I want you to know that that is a beautiful little baby doll. She looks like a little baby doll to me. She is beautiful. She surely is. But if I can make it, if I'm back in Minnesota, of course I will. But like I said, it's my niece's 23rd anniversary of them being missing, Tiana and Diamond Bradley. So continue to keep them lifted up in prayers and for answers. I'm looking for answers this year.
And also, Luis was able to bring Teddy, Barway's little brother, who was a 1 year old when Barway was killed. And now he's 9 years old, playing soccer, going to Sunday school, and he is the king.
King Teddy. I remember when he was a little one. Remember, Luis?
Remember when Teddy was little?
Around me. I said, come here, boy. Come here. Get over here. Yeah, that's the way I. Huh?
Teddy is a big boy now. He's
Yeah.
big.
I know, but you know, hugging him was like to me hugging Barway.
Mhm.
Yeah, you know, because you just want to feel that spiritual closeness.
Yep.
Now he playing soccer. Next he'll be playing football.
I don't want us to run out of time, so I'm going to close for now, and we'll do a
Okay.
segment about the school. And Luis, you are the Easter story for me.
Thank you.
Okay, well, good night.
Have a good night.